If you've been trying to lose belly fat, but nothing seems to work, in this video, I'm going to break down one of my secret strategies that I normally reserve for my private coaching clients, but today I'm feeling generous. And so I'm going to give it to y'all today as well. Now, most trainers will withhold this type of information. Some of them don't even know about it, but I've been doing this over 16 years now, and I just realized, there are certain things that you just really don't see in the mainstream. What you typically see are people that say, just cut out sugar. Hey, just cut out, the sodas and just eat healthy. These are things we typically hear. And if you're the type of person who's already tried those things, you're like, man, I'm still having a hard time losing weight. I'm still having a hard time getting rid of this belly fat. I'm eating healthy. Looking at my calories. I'm working out. I'm doing the cardio. There's more to it. Okay. Now, just before I dive into this strategy, just realize there are some foundational things you do have to have in place before you start doing this. Like, obviously, a lot of people who try to just outwork poor nutrition habits, that's why they struggle because you can't outwork poor eating habits. Nutrition is like 80 to 90% of what's required to be able to lose weight. So you have to dial that in. And so the second thing is this. We know there's nutrition. Now we have to have it in the right priority, in the right order. Okay. Believe it or not, you don't have to eat healthy all the time. Like if you've ever heard myself or any coaches or trainers or people who say, well, I still enjoy myself. I still eat burgers. I still eat tacos. I still eat cookies. I still eat whatever. And they look lean and cut up. And you're like, how? How is that possible? And if you've been rocking with my page for a while, you've heard me say these things. You've heard me say I eat tacos from Velvet Taco or, Shake Shack burgers or Waffle House every now and then, down South Georgia boy. But doesn't mean I'm doing it all the time though. Okay. And so the first phase is just being mindful of what you're eating at least 80% of the time. The other 20%, you can enjoy yourself. You can eat whatever you want to eat, guys. Like there's no bad food. There's just certain foods that are gonna either move you closer or further away from your goals based on how often you eat them. Okay. And so I want to be mindful, but now after mindfulness, we want to focus on energy, okay, aka our calorie intake. And so, if you don't know your calorie intake and you're eating healthy, this is why most folks struggle to lose weight because they have no idea how much they're eating. Like, they're just like, oh, I'm gonna focus on my portions. And if they don't know their calorie intake, they're guessing with their portions. And so that's why their weight goes up, then the weight goes down, and it just fluctuates. And they get frustrated when they step on a scale, or they're frustrated when their stomach isn't going down, and their clothes and suits don't fit. But in reality, they're not being they're not aware of how much they actually need to eat. So it's not just the quality, being mindful, it's also it's not just the quality, it's also the quantity of food that you eat. Both are very important, okay? Now, once we get past those two levels, quality, quantity, then it's protein, all right? So it's the quantity and the protein. So your calorie intake and your protein intake. You can have two people, guys. You can have both of them can have similar goals, similar, height, weight, things like that. One person just focuses on calorie intake. The other person focuses on calories and protein intake. Just from research and studies, it shows that the person who's eating more protein is going to burn more fat. And so all that means, guys, if you're like me, you want to look good in your clothes and your suits. When you take your clothes off, you got to eat more protein. It's not just weightlifting. You got to eat the right type of foods, okay? Because just focusing on calories, you can still lose weight, but you might look skinny fat. You might look weak. You might look frail. Clothes might not fit the way you want them to. I see some people who hide. They use their clothes to hide because they're like, I don't want nobody to see how I really look up underneath these clothes. You know, you don't have to be that way when you focus on calories plus protein. Okay. And so I want to say all these things because it's very important to understand this before we get to the strategy. If you don't understand these things, the strategy won't land. It won't work the way you want it to, which I'm talking about. I had back when I did in person training, did it over a decade. And there was a point in my life where I just kind of like lost the passion for training in person. Nothing wrong with it, but I found myself saying, man, I want to help more people. I want to have more transformations, you know? And, that's what made me want to step into coaching. But when I started, I went through college, went to Georgia State University, studied exercise science and nutrition. Also stepped on stage, did a couple of bodybuilding shows. Y'all can see one of my little trophies right here. And as I started learning these things and I started doing more research on different books that I was reading, just to really learn, like, for me, back then, I kind of like felt like there were certain trainers that were withholding information. I was like, man, it's something that people are just not telling people. Like, what am I missing? And, I started reading certain books because they say, if you want to keep things away from, black folks, you put it in a book. And so I started reading more. And lo and behold, I discovered this strategy and I've kind of like made it into my own. I've, changed it up over the years, just being able to help clients and myself. And I'm like, okay, well, this is going to work a little bit better. And this is how I can explain it in a more simple way. And so, you know, I was still training in person. And then on Facebook, back then, this guy had reached out to me named John, John Thomas to be exact. And he reached out, word vomited inside the DMs. He was just like frustrated, kept losing weight, gaining it back, losing weight, gaining it back. And he was just tired. He was like, man, I'm ready to get this weight off and keep it off. And so I put him on this plan because I had already helped some people online, like coaching, but I hadn't helped a lot of people. And right around that time, I had discovered this strategy. And so I said, man, this dude needs to drop a good 50 to 60 pounds. Let me apply this into his life and see how effective it is, along with everything else that I know. This guy dropped 48 pounds in 4 months. 48 pounds in 4 months. Life changing. He went and bought a basketball goal, put it in the backyard, hooping with his son now, talking about his wife can't keep her hands off of him, And so I'm like, whoa, this is incredible. He had more energy than he knew what to do with, able to move around with his son and, be more mobile, not stressing and worrying about health issues and stuff. And so I was like, man, I'm on to something. I'm on to something, man. I done found the cheat code now. I felt like I had struck gold because I seen not just myself transform, but I seen somebody else transform, you know, and who had a lot of weight to lose. And so, this is the strategy that helped him. And so here's how it works. We all have a certain amount of calories that we need to eat on a daily basis. Okay. We all have a certain amount of calories that we need to eat on a daily basis. Some of y'all, it may be 1,500, others, it may be 2,000, others, it may be 16 or 1,700, whatever it is. Once you know your daily calorie intake, which you can easily do, just go into Google and type in total daily energy expenditure calculator, TDEE calculator, or you can hire a coach like myself, okay? And I'll remove the guesswork for you. Now, once you know your daily calorie intake, that's gonna help you lose weight. But we don't want to just lose weight. We want to lose body fat. That way we can get rid of the belly, right? Get rid of the muffin top, the love handles. And so we know the calorie intake, but we also want to know the protein intake. And so typically your protein intake on the low end is going to be like 35% of your overall calorie intake. Or if you're like me, it's going to be more like 40% of your overall calorie intake. Okay. That's going to help you lean out and drop body fat and have energy, feel full after you eat meals. I tend to, a lot of people book calls with me and a lot of people tell me that they're like starving. They don't have energy. If you're not eating enough protein, you're not going to have the energy. Okay. Not just physically, but mentally. And a lot of people end up having things like type 2 diabetes because they're carb heavy, but not protein heavy in their diet. Okay. So you need to eat more protein. That way you can regulate your blood glucose levels, your A1C levels. That's what docs say, right? And so you focus on your calorie intake, focus on your protein intake. Now we have that dialed in. The next thing is this. This is where the sauce comes in at. This is where the strategy comes in at. So there's going to be 2 days out the week because you have carbs like fruits and vegetables, and then you have what I call starchy carbs like bread, oatmeal, potatoes, rice, things like that. 2 days out the week, you're going to have these types of starchy carbs with your meals. Okay. Only 2 days out the week. Then the other 5 days out the week is protein, it's fruits, it's vegetables, and it's healthy fats like avocados and walnuts and almonds and things like that. Okay. Your energy level, like from the day one, the first week, your energy is going to go through the roof. Okay. I can't tell you the amount of coaching clients that I've had join my coaching program, struggling with sleeping, struggling with low energy, not just the belly fat, not just the weight, but just like they don't feel good. And if you're like me, you want to be able to not just look good, you want to feel good. That way you can excel in your career and still have energy for the people that you love and care about. You have to eat a certain way to give you that energy. Not drink more caffeine, not drink more coffee, not drink more energy drinks like most people. You want to be a high performer, you have to fuel your body properly. Okay? And so you want to start eating more fruits, vegetables, proteins. Uh, Try to cut back on the processed food, eating too much fast food. There's a lot of processed food there. Okay. There's a lot of processed food when you're eating a lot of fast food. And so try to eat more whole, dense with nutrition food that you cook from home, or go to more restaurants like Whole Foods who have more, quality food. And so you're going to feel better. But if you do this over a good month, you're gonna drop weight. Like you're gonna see a significant difference in your belly fat. You're gonna see it slimming down. You're gonna see you have more energy. You're gonna see your clothes fitting better. You're gonna see people even complimenting you. Okay. And it's not to say you have to use this strategy for the rest of your life, but if you're somebody you're trying to get that belly fat off ASAP, you're trying to lose weight ASAP, this is a strategy that I use for my coaching clients. Okay. Not all of them, but a lot of them who want to get it off quickly. This is what we do. Okay. And these folks are dropping 40, 50, up to 60 pounds in only 6 months. Okay. I have coaching clients. One of my coaching clients she's getting ready to graduate, named April. She dropped 80, it was either 80 or 81 pounds over the course of 12 months. Can you imagine what your life would look like dropping 30, 50, or even 80 plus pounds if you have that type of weight to lose? Can you imagine the level of confidence that you're going to have? Like most folks who reach out to me are already confident in yourself, but how much better would you feel if you didn't have that weight on you? You didn't have the belly fat, like the embarrassing belly fat just poking out when you have your clothes on, when you have your suits on, and when you don't have your clothes on. You know, life gets a lot better. And I always say, when you focus on your health and you focus on your body, you focus on your image, everything else around your life, everything gets better. You become more confident, you show up better, you're glowing. Now people around you, they even want to do better. They admire you, they respect you, you know? And so, but this strategy in general though, it'll definitely help you get there faster. Okay. So hopefully y'all found this helpful. If you have questions, drop them down in the comments below. This is something that you don't want to just kind of like wing it. You want to get a professional to help you with this stuff. You want to have a professional to map these things out for you step by step. Okay. And so if you would like for me to remove the guesswork for you, where I create this plan for you, the same way I do for my private coaching clients, I'll drop a link down in the description below. But just know that there's more than one way to I gotta say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right. You hear about the keto diets, the carnivore diets, and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to do that, man. All right. When you start using strategies that's built around energy management, you're able to drop weight quickly. All right. Without it being like a fad. All right. That's all we're doing. We're just manipulating energy based on how much carbs you're eating. Okay. And so 2 days out the week, you're eating more carbs because you're eating more starchy carbs, which are more dense with calories. And then the other days, you're not eating these carbs that are dense with calories. You're eating more fruits and vegetables. They don't have as much calories in them. Okay. Ooh, man. Whoever stayed to watch this to the end, man, y'all got some sauce today. Y'all got some sauce. Even though it's free, these are gems, right? It took me a long time to realize these things. But anyway, if you would like some help, I'll drop the link down in the description. You can check it out. Well, other than that, guys, appreciate your support. Let's get it. Peace.